everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I want to talk to you about intermittent fasting and how I started in the program that I follow. Now I do want to stress that I don't overthink it. I do what feels right for me, and you are going to need to experiment and figure out what works for you. For myself, when I decided to do it, I had not adopted the ketogenic diet yet, and I do not recommend trying to change a whole bunch of things at once. Change one thing and then you can change the other. I chose to go with intermittent fasting first because it was easy. It was easier for me to change because I had already eaten somewhat by the ketogenic guidelines, except I was eating, my carbs were higher. I was eating bread and a lot of fruit. Anyway, that's not what this video is about. It's about intermittent fasting. When I first started to do it, I was eating 3 meals a day, and I was having 2, sometimes 3 snacks a day. I was just constantly putting little things in my mouth. I would pack healthy snacks, and so it was an adjustment to me. The first thing I did for about maybe 4 or 5 days is I cut out snacks. I only had my 3 meals. And actually that was easier than I thought it would be. The hardest snack for me to give up was the one at nighttime, where I would grab something to eat. We would eat dinner a little bit earlier, and I would grab something, between 9 and 10 before I went to bed. In my mind, I thought I was feeding my brain. I don't know where I got that, but that's what I thought. So I was eating a snack just before I went to bed. I was also eating something right when I got up before I exercised. So it was easier to cut out the morning snack, but that bedtime snack was harder for me. And I still struggle with that every now and then. I find I struggle more with it when I go off my meal plan for a while. Like when I was on my cruise, I wanted to eat pastries just before bed. Because I really wasn't following the intermittent fasting and ketogenic diet for those 10 days, but that's okay, Anyway, so I did 3 meals per day with no snacking. And after a little while, I moved my breakfast back, and I moved my supper back or in also, and I did away with my lunch. I struggled for about a week because I was programmed and I was used to eating lunch. Between 11:30 and 1, I was usually hungry. I didn't always eat during that whole time, but that's usually about when I ate my lunch. Now, I have a fairly flexible work schedule that it's going to change daily. I'm a sales rep, so I'm on the road, and my schedule changes daily. So depending on what my schedule was that day of when I would feel hungry. And I got past that, and I found that if I kept myself busy during that time, I didn't think about food. And that's really the key. You need to make your eating window fit into your lifestyle. You need to have it fit into you. That didn't make sense. You need to have it fit into your lifestyle. You can't try to adjust your eating to fit into something. You need to make sure it works for you. And what works for me may not work for you. Some people like to get up and eat and have a 5, 6, 7 hour window that they eat from the time they get up. I'm personally not hungry any longer when I wake up, and being I struggle later in the day, it's better for me to have my window from 12:30 to 6:30. Sometimes it might be 1 till 7, sometimes it might be 12 to 6, depending on my work schedule. But I try to go 18 hours from my last meal to when my next meal comes. I didn't start out that way. So I had those 2 meals per day, and I just kind of every 2 or 3 days I was adjusting my time and pushing it back. And I started out with an 8-hour window, and I really found that with my work schedule, and that I don't like to eat very late. So 6:30 or 7 is as late as I really want to eat. I prefer to eat between 6 and 6:30. 5:30 if I could, but it just doesn't always work out that way. So I wasn't hungry at 10. I found that I just wasn't hungry at 10 or 10:30, that I really could go until 12:30, 1 o'clock before I was hungry. So I decided to shrink it to a 6-hour window. Now, they recommend for men that you do 18-6. And for women, I mean, you can do anything you want. They say you need to at least fast for 16 hours if you're going to do it to receive the benefits. So I did 16-8 for about 2 weeks, and I decided to do the 18-6 just because it fit into my lifestyle. Now, if you're the kind of person that you're busy all day long and you aren't really thinking about food, you might want your window to go back later. You might be busy until 3:30, 4 o'clock. Your kids come home from school and you're making them snacks, and that's when you need to open your window. So the key is obviously to have part of your window when you're asleep, and I sleep 7 to 9 hours a night. I know I'm lucky. I don't really have sleep issues. And so that takes care of a lot of it. Some people prefer to have all their eating done from the time their kids get out of school until it's time to go to bed, and they're not hungry. So you need to find your busy time, and that's when I think it's easier to fast. When I'm sitting around and not doing anything, that's when I tend to think about food. So if I can keep myself busy and keep my mind occupied, it's much, much easier. And so now I've tried to make sure that I have appointments scheduled so that I'm not hungry during those times. Or if it's on the weekend and I'm at home, I try to have tasks that I need to get done or a project I need to work on that I keep my mind busy, because that's when I tend to want to eat. I also find if I plop down in front of the TV at 6:30 or 7 at night, I might want to munch. So I walk my dogs, about 7 o'clock. I walk them and I'm busy with that until 8. And then I have a nighttime routine that I go through every night to get me ready and prep me for success for the next day. And so about 8:30, 20 minutes till 9, I start doing that. So it really doesn't leave me a lot of time to sit around and think about food. And I think that's key. But the main thing is you need to make this fit into your lifestyle. What I do isn't important. You can use it as a guideline and try it. But 12:30 to 6:30 works for me most days. Do I do it every single day? No, I don't. Life happens. I have my granddaughters, and we may go out to eat, or we may go do something. May have birthday parties, anniversary parties, graduation parties. I try not to make every day a party, but I do work those into it. And there's nothing wrong with celebrating your success and having a day that you just eat what you want. And that's what I like about it. I'm not real strict with it. I cut myself slack. I don't dwell when I mess up where I used to. I used to beat myself up, and I would try to do cardio to make up for it. And you can't out-exercise a bad diet, and you really can't make up for indulging. If you sit down and eat a box of Hostess cupcakes, you aren't going to be able to exercise and take that off. Same thing with a box of Girl Scout cookies or Oreos, whatever it is that you indulge in. If you do indulge in it, just forget about it and try to do better. Don't beat yourself up. Don't overthink this. I have a friend that I watch on YouTube, and she's always saying, don't overthink the things you're doing right. Think about the things you're doing wrong. So if you are eating and you're saying, well, could I do this better? Don't overthink what you're doing right. Try to fix what you're doing wrong. Try to set yourself up for success. If those Oreos bother you, don't have them in the house. I know I personally love to bake, and my homemade baked goods are very good, if I don't say so myself. So I don't bake unless we have a family gathering to go to, or I'm going to have all the kids and grandkids over for a big dinner, and I want to treat them. And then I allow myself a piece of cake. I allow myself cookies. I allow myself, and I don't beat myself up about it. I eat it guilt-free. but leftovers go home with people. I have a family friend that I can contact that has teenagers around, and they come over and they willingly take my leftovers. So that's my biggest point I want to say is cut yourself some slack, set yourself up for success, and don't overthink it. This isn't rocket science. It's just trying to put the right nutrients in your body over the right time span to make your body function as well as it can be. So my next video, I will get into more about the healthy ketogenic diet, how I do it, why I do it, and how I got started, and how I mess up, because I do. So anyway, if you like this video, give me a thumbs up and subscribe, and I'll talk to you later. Thank you.